Hello friends, so today we'll see regarding second part of trial balance. So hints for preparation of trial balance. While preparing the trial balance with balances of the ledger accounts, the following hints should be noted. So you should note that what are the type of account, what are the nature of the accounts, like which account should have which debit balance or credit balance. Only ledgers show the balances should appear in the trial balance. If a ledger shows a debit balance, it should appear in the debit column. On other hand, if a ledger shows a credit balance, it should appear in the credit column. Okay. In the context of ledger balances, it is necessary to know the nature of the balances of the various ledger accounts. So, for example, for capital account, it should have a credit balance, so it should appear in the credit column. Drawing account, it should have a debit balance, it should appear in debit column. Sundry debtors, it should have a debit balance. So all the debtors, it is summarized into one co-heading. It is sundry debtors and it should have a debit balance, should appear in the debit side of the trial balance. In similar way, credit sundry creditor means it is the accumulation of all the creditors of the organization. It should appear in the credit side because it is nature of credit balance. Okay, bank account, it's so a debit balance or a credit balance. If a bank account shows a debit balance, it means cash at bank. If it appears in the debit balance, if it is any credit balance, it means a bank overdraft. It should appear in the credit column. Cash account, it show a debit balance, so it should appear in the debit side. Then purchase account, it should have a debit balance, it should appear in the debit side. Sales account, it should have a credit balance. Purchase return, it should have a credit balance. Sales return, it should have a debit balance. Opening stock, it should have a debit balance. Generally, closing stock will not appear in the trial balance. Investment account has a debit balance. Accounting for fixed asset, it should have a debit balance. Bills receivable, debit balance. Bills payable, credit balance. Accounts expenses, losses will have a debit balance. Accounts of income and gains should have a credit balance. In context of balances of expenses and income, it must be noted that commission, rent, interest, expenses must be considered as expenses. So these balances must have debit balance. However, commission received, rent received, these are the incomes. So it should be credit balance. The name are similar, but it can be either paid or received. So while paid, it is considered an expenses, and while we have received it as an income, it should have credit balance. Then last in like provision and reserves, it should show a credit balance, so they will appear in the credit column. However, provisions for discount on creditors will show a debit balance, so it will appear in the debit side of the trial balance. Okay, so methods of preparing trial balance. So there are three methods of preparing trial balance. One is total method, one is balance method, one is compound method. So what is total method? If the total of debit balance of all accounts in a ledger is placed in one column list, and similarly total credit side of the column of ledger is placed in another column of the list, then the list of total trial balance will be known as total method. Okay, after the recording the totals, the trial balance is total. If the total sides of the equal, it assumes the accounts are reasonably correct. So that means, so we should like for example, we have these most transactions, the journals are recorded, then the ledger accounts prepared. After preparing the ledger accounts, how the trial balance will be prepared, like you can see here. So for example, cash account, this is the total debit and this is the total credit. So we are totaling the debit and credit account. You can see total debit 93,590, total credit 93,590. Sorry, total debit is here 72, 11, 10, 50, 59, 590, 93, 590. But here total credit, look up, this balance carry forward is calculated after minusing the total credit and total debit. So while total credit is 81, 550. So this is total method. That means we are just totaling the debit and credit side and putting the amount here. Capital account 72 100. Bank account, what is total credit. So this we will put the amounts, and after that we will total the both side, debit and credit side. If it is matches, then our recordings or books of accounts are correct. Okay, then the next method is balance method. According to this method, a trial balance is prepared on the balances of the account based on mathematical maximum if equals total away from the equals. Like for example, if you can see here, for example, Rahul account, what is the balance carry forward, you can see 72. So you can take only this amount, now total debit and total credit. We will take the balance amount only. So in that case, we will put the debit balance in debit side, credit balance in credit side, and we will prepare this account. That is called balance method. Okay. So what is the difference between total method and balance method? Balance method was total. A total balance prepared method shows the totals of the debit and credit side. That is total method. But balance method, only balance is taken of the account. Number of ledger accounts. Trial balance prepared by this method shows the totals of all the accounts, even if the balance total equal debit or credit. The balance is maybe zero, but total debit credit are considering, so it will show all the ledger balances. But in balance method, if the balance is nil, it will not show the balance. So it will show which accounts have the balances. Timing of preparation, it can be prepared immediately after the completion of posting, but for this balance method, it will prepare only after the ledgers are balanced. So for that, these are the three kind of differences. Then compound method, this represents both balance and total method in same trial balance. So in this method we will show like total and as well as balances. You can see here, in this trial balance you can see these are the ledger accounts. You will show total debit and total credit, and in the another two column will add. Here we will show the balances. What is the total, what is the debit balance, if it is debit balance debit side, credit balance credit side. Here you can see capital account, debit credit, and total balance is 72. In cash account, total debit is 93,590, credit is 81,550. It has debit balance, so it will show debit side. Okay, like that you can show for others. So it is combination of total and balance. Okay, this is the most famous method of preparation of trial balance. So preparation trial balance, when the balances are given in real life, balances of each ledger by itself indicates whether it is debit or credit accordingly. In actual practice, we prepare the balance without expressly being given whether the amount indicates debit or credit balance. In such situation, the rules of journalism very helpful. Okay, like personal account, the account may have both debit or credit balances. Some extra information is given to them indicate nature of the balances. Like for example, sundry debtors are also known as sales ledger balances or book debts, while preparing sundry creditors are known as purchase ledger or bought ledger balances. Okay, like then capital account, drawing account has always capital account is the credit balance. However, capital is a button, it will show debit balance. Drawing account has always debit balance. So bank is assumed as it should have debit balance, but sometimes it is overdrawn. That time it will show credit balance. Then we are coming to next, real account. Real account are asset of the firm. It will always have a debit balance. Cash, machinery, furniture, buildings, etc. Purchase account shall return exceptions to this rule, that sales accounts and sales return account. Opening stock will always, it is generally included in the trial balance. However, it is adjusted in purchase and deducted after the total purchases. Like if you are showing cost of goods sold, that time opening stock it will not shown. Okay, it will only cost of goods sold will be shown. Nominal accounts, rent, salary, wages, these are the two types: income and expenses. Income gains, it will show credit balance, but expenses, it will show debit balance. So we should consider these rules while preparation trial balance, and it will be helpful. If any adverse balance is there, we should investigate that one, why there is adverse balance. Okay, thank you.